I'm back! Hard disk died, had to replace it with SSD, all is good. Now, I don't think I need to explain what we're gonna do today, however, just to be sure, I'm gonna talk about mission editing or mission creation from my perspective and how you can ease yourself into creating a mission. Now, there are some things that you need to know before we do this. Firstly, I am not a professional, nor do I claim to be one, if it's not obvious enough. This video is solely based on my experience. The target audience for this video is aimed at players who have little to no prior experience in the mission editor and wants to get into it. The video is centered around the idea of making a scenario as a whole and not its individual elements. Means to say, I am not going to go into how you manipulate an object, how you're going to use a trigger, so on and so forth. Okay? The main goal for the Made Simple series is to help new or newer players understand various aspects of the game, so don't expect anything too complicated. Okay? Now, there is this one mod I want people to know about, especially those wanting to make their own mission or scenario. Now, wait, hold on. I'm not told to do this, I'm not sponsored, I'm not whatsoever. I just simply want people to know about this mod, full stop. Okay? And it's called Eden Enhanced by Revo. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrongly. This mod adds new functionalities to the Eden editor without creating any dependencies for players, which means to say that you can create your mission with this mod, save it, and then play with your maybe say clan mates in a full-on vanilla server, and they won't even know about it. I mean, you literally don't have to tell them, you just use this, create the mission, throw it at them, done. They won't even know. Alright, let's go. Okay, while we are in the game, I want to talk about something you can do before you jump into the actual Eden editor. You can start off by looking for inspiration from materials like news, videos, movies, or even books, you know. From there, you can ask yourself a couple of questions like, who are you making this mission for? Is it your clanmates? Is it a bunch of friends? It's just for you to know the size that you're going to be working with, okay? Next one will be, when does this mission take place? You want to know the timeline or the era that the mission will be taking place. For example, World War II, or maybe a modern conflict, alright? Now, also, you can ask yourself, what is the objective? Is it a PvP? Is it an escort mission, etc.? Then that will also lead you to why. Why does this occur? It's just for a little story that you can put it in so that the players can immerse themselves in this specific story and scenario, alright? Then ultimately, you have to ask yourself, where does this scenario take place? You just want to know which map do you want to use. Is it Altish, Chernarus, so on and so forth. Alright, now you don't really have to ask all of these specific questions. Generally, you get the idea of the who, when, what, why, and where, so that you have a, how should I put this, a direction to work towards. Alright, now let's get into the Eden editor. Okay, we're gonna go with virtual reality for now. Okay, the reason why I chose this map is because there isn't any terrain or structures to load in, hence you load in a lot faster. Now it's especially useful if you just want to test out some stuff, alright? Okay, so I'll begin by showing you a fraction of what Eden Enhanced is capable of. Then we'll move on to 3 tips I'm going to give you to help you improve your mission editing. Okay, let's go. So, how do you make an object into a virtual arsenal? Okay, simply find an object that you want to, then double click on it. Look for equipment storage, expand that, and then you'll see this, you have to look for this arsenal checkbox. Check it, press OK, and it's done. Okay. Now, how do you enable simple object option within an object? Now you have to make sure that the object has this option under special states. It's called simple object. You need this to be available before you can make it into a simple object. Technically, what I'm going to teach you is just a toggle on and off, right? So simple object normally will do is come down here under special states, and then you check the option and then you press OK, right? Then the icon turns grey. Now with Eden Enhanced, I simply need to select this by left click, then I hit left alternate plus S to turn it into a simple object. Alright? Okay, in some cases that you might need to maybe copy and paste or duplicate specific loadout onto other characters. How do you do it? By default, you would usually select this guy, right click, and then go to edit loadout BI virtual arsenal, right? Then afterwards you have to literally replicate this whole entire setup onto this guy. It's gonna take about 10 minutes tops, the most, I don't know, right? Now with Eden Enhanced, simply select this guy, go to Tools, go to Loadout Tools, then go to Copy Loadout. Here's your shortcut, right? Simply click on it, and then select this guy. Same thing, go back to Loadout Tools, Apply Loadout. Isn't it simple? Alright. Everything with, for example, you have bandages in this guy, you will also carry over to this guy. Okay. Now, how do you sort of arrange this guy, this bunch of mess in an orderly fashion? Simply highlight or select the group, go to Tools, Placement Tools, Placement Tool. Alright. There's a bunch of options that you can work with. What I'm going to do is a grid pattern. So just by columns. As you can see, I think it's kind of messed up here. Alright. Then spacing. Okay, maybe tighter a little bit tighter spacing. And then your spacing y-axis. Maybe a little bit tighter. Yeah, fair enough. Now let's move on to the next section. Alright, tip number 1. Explore your assets. Especially if you're running a couple of weapon or vehicle mods. By understanding how your asset work or behave, be it weapons, vehicles or structures, it can help you decide the appropriate asset to use in your mission. Here's an example based on true story but slightly exaggerated. The mission maker requires an armored anti-tank vehicle, but due to his inexperience, he chose this vehicle. Yes, it fulfills the anti-tank part, but how about the armored portion? This vehicle cannot take a hit from a rocket, whereas if he did his research and explored the assets that he has, he'll be able to choose the appropriate vehicle for the task, which in this case will be the one at the top. While this might not break your mission, it might affect the player's ability to complete the mission. So that's something you want to consider, alright? Alright, on to the second tip. Balancing player versus AI. This is a tough one because there isn't a golden ratio or a magic number to work with, and it also depends on how do you want to structure your mission. You need to find the balance between enough resistance and a fun mission. It's basically like pushing the players to their limits and letting them complete the objective at the end of the day. As compared to a more negative example where players are constantly dying and respawning without the ability to fight back at all. Here's an example. Each building represents a zone and the players need to pass through all of them to complete the mission. A zone can be a town or some place where you want a battle to take place, but it has to be after some form of downtime. Think of it this way as a roller coaster ride. You have the ups and downs. Now the ups are battles within the zone, and the downs are the time during your travel from point A to point B, just to give players room to breathe. Alright, in front of you are 3 zones, A, B and C. The first 2 zones are pretty balanced, whereas the last one isn't. In this case, there's way too much resistance at the last zone for the players to handle, hence they won't be able to complete their objective. Now if anything else, consider the vehicles as force multipliers and use them sparingly. Right, the last tip for the day, creating custom compositions. Custom compositions are particularly useful when you need to place a group of objects you often use when making a mission. Now not to mention that it also saves you a ton of time and effort, alright? I'm going to teach you how to make a custom composition before showing you some examples. So, say for example you have, you need 2 helicopters, 1, 2, right? And maybe say a couple of cars, maybe say ammo truck, cargo truck, and then say for example a quad bike. Alright, simple isn't it? Now, the custom composition will save whatever state these guys are in. For example, if you were to put these 2 into maybe say a simple object state, then once you load your custom compositions, these 2 will still remain in simple object. So just bear in mind, make sure you have the appropriate settings done. Okay. Now, how do you make a custom comp? Highlight this group. In this case, will be 2 helicopters and 3 ground vehicles. Right. Highlight. Once everything is highlighted, right click on any of them. Then navigate to Save Custom Composition. Now it'll ask you for a title, an author's name, and a category. For title, give it something appropriate, right? So a proper name, right? Then category, it could be anything. Something appropriate would be nice, alright? In this case, I'll just put military, okay? So once you're satisfied, good name, your name, or rather the author's name, and then a proper category. Press OK. Right. You should see that it appears here. Okay. Now, where is this? This is in Compositions, and then navigate to this white icon, custom, and look for under military a proper name. Alright? So just simply left click on it, left click on the terrain, and you're done. Simple, isn't it? Okay, let's delete all of this. And I'm going to show you how I use custom comp. Say for example, I just loaded into a fresh terrain. There's nothing in the terrain, and I want to create a mission. What do you need in a mission? Players, spawn point, right? So what I have here is I named it multiplayer underscore players setup. Okay, so I have this thing here, which includes playable characters, also a respawn point, also a game master icon. This one doesn't matter, don't bother about it, but just try and understand. Alright, so this is what I have player setup. Alright, what it means to me is that the minute I put this down, the minute I put this composition down, my players can spawn, my players can respawn. Okay, in any case I want to do a single player testing, I have this guy over here. Make sense? Now another example would be where is it? Supply vehicles. Alright, instead of looking for all of these vehicles, ammo, fuel, repair, and medical, I simply dump them into a custom comp, and then I can just retrieve them anytime I want. Alright, now say for example you want to delete a custom composition, you're not satisfied with it, or maybe you don't need anymore. Okay, so let's go and find under military a proper name. I want to get rid of it, okay, because it's for demo purpose. So I found it, a proper name, left click on it, in other words select it, and then navigate your cursor to this icon down here, bottom right, delete composition selected in the browser. Simply left click on it, so you decide, do you want or do you want to cancel? I want to delete this, press OK, and it's gone. Alright, simple, isn't it? Now let's do a recap of what we've gone through today. Alright, firstly, you can find inspirations from various medias like news, movies, and more. You can ask yourself who, when, what, why, and where. I moved on to a small little Eden Enhanced demo, followed by 3 tips being explore your assets, balancing player versus AI, and making a custom comp. Alright, all these things I've been talking about for the past few minutes are merely tools that you can use to build your mission. So don't take them as like an instructional or a tutorial video. Alright, now I'll leave you with this. In my opinion, there's no right or wrong when it comes to mission editing. There's only a functioning mission and a broken mission. Alright, with that, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye!